to this emergency IT news. Welcome, citizens of the internet, live over IP6, I guess, probably. At least now we are running dual stock here. Finished here the temporary setup of yesterday's IPv6 amazingness. What do we have? Of course, as I said, no weekly news anymore, otherwise more lightweight podcast like news every other day when something is newsworthy, and boy did today not disappoint, because we have breaking news. Huawei apparently announced here just right now or something in the last hours. Huawei HarmonyOS, much talked and rumored replacement for Android. Why? Of course, because of this stupid trade sanctions there, international conflicts of the USA and China. And I said it before, I'll say it again, it's of course totally hilarious, those trade war nonsense, only destroying US markets and companies, investments and stuff. And of course, if you cut off developing huge mega powers like China from technology supply, what do they do? Of course they invent their own. No shit, Sherlock, who did that not expect, see this coming? And I thought they maybe just fork Android or something, but boy was I wrong. They've basically, when you look into this, let's just need to zoom this here a little bit that you see all the text, I guess. And it's like they listen to our chat here. So in case of Huawei, highly recommended. Can't only recommend it more to all the employees of Huawei, because so after months of conflicting statements of Huawei, also I think just today, right, with Trump and stuff, I think it escalated further, that I think he just said, like yesterday with all this shitstorm on Twitter and whatnot, that as long as China is blocking soybean or whatever farm supplies or corn or crops or whatnot, they will put more sanctions for technology stuff. Maybe that triggered that, I don't know. It's of course total bullshit. Anyway, so what have they maybe apparently learned from Common Sense or our channel? Much anticipated micro-kernel based, yay! As if did I say this? And that is not everything. So distributed operating system. So the thing is, of course, buzzwords and real stuff. Welcome, Detard, by the way. So, of course, how are you doing this in this day and age? Of course, micro-kernel, in my opinion, the only sane choice in this day. Connected, each toaster and coffee machine has an IPv6 address and stuff. Connected world. Distributed, whatever that means. Distributed is a little bit strange. What distributed is normally you have like distributed nodes, your coffee machine and toaster and stuff, and your SGI supercomputer and distributed computing something. Not really sure how this distributed fits in there, because usually this means a couple of nodes connected, that it looks like forming some bigger computing node, but whatever. Maybe all buzzwords thrown into this pot there. For power smartphones, laptops, smart home devices. And yeah, just as I said, you don't want to run all your router and firewall in one monolithic kernel, and certainly not your smartphone, and yeah, all your GPU complexity running there in one address space. And of course, in attempts to reduce its reliance on American companies, HarmonyOS will be made available for developers, smart screen products such as TVs, smartwatches, in-vehicle infotainment system. I mean, basically what I just said in the other week. How would you... it's of course amazing that I just said this a couple of days ago or a week ago or something, how to kickstart some operating system company. Can you even do this in this day and age? Because certainly, if you're not a mega corporation like Google or Huawei or something of that sort, it ain't that easy, I would say. And without, where do we have left off here? Mommy, more powerful and secure than... Yeah, so, I mean, Android, right? Monolithic kernel, certainly is the biggest, more powerful and secure. So at least secure in terms of Android, right? It's based on Linux, monolithic kernel, one address space, everything from the 100,000 lines of code of GPU driver to your network stack and everything in between running there in one address space. Let's see, we have already comments in the audience. So for me, mostly amazing, and at least I made the other live stream earlier than they announced this. Always nice to be a little bit earlier than the mainstream of repeating some comment. At least also my micro-kernel streams, at least probably I would estimate 6 months, and my post on my blog, like we should be going more micro-kernel also for access points. So this it is. Anyway, so at least I was a couple of years early on that side. We have, so Hierarchy looks like source, I was looking for the sources, but you're looking for the sources of adopting core boot going forward. Okay, cool, that sounds convenient. So also IPv6 amazingness has not fixed the live stream. This is why my dashboard here on this aging, failing company leftover QA stock MacBook Air, it's hilarious. So I can't even, unfortunately, copy it over here. Modularized, and so it's exactly how you would be doing modularized, whatever that means. But I would say the Android code base is not as modularized as in one monolithic, also build source gigabyte kind of source construct, and this is certainly why the vendors have such a hard time, or well, maybe they don't want, of course, on top of this, but it's certainly not the most amazing if you can't easily just plug in your binary only GPU driver and go with it. Let's see if the stupid YouTube Studio dashboard. So the whole internet works for everything. Now we are running dual stack, even up to since yesterday, IPv6 and IPv4, and not that this will have something to do with it, but even if you're super totally double connected, you can't even, yeah, that ain't loading anything though. Whatever the pattern is showing, some of this pattern changed, so too. Yeah, I'm not making that up live on YouTube. So yeah, so but as you see this comment yourselves, super micro adopting core boot going forward, also amazing news, and we have more amazing news. Are we even through with that amazing news? So of course my Chinese war share except Ni Hao obviously, but war share Degoren. I'm German. Welcome everyone. Ni Hao to the Chinese audience there, in case you circumvent with VPN or whatever your great Chinese firewall there. And modularized nested attempt to flexibility device create seamless cross site intent to continue. So initially also, why did I start this YouTube channel? Of course, in the hopes to eventually hit 100,000 subscribers and have here some news and testing, and have here some like Linus Tech Tips, but not as dropping CPUs on the floor and rolling over them, but instead of using this kind of potential future growth to really do here micro-kernel hacking and fun stuff like that, and otherwise not really feeling like gathering here $1 million of venture capital for that fun. I guess it's the news mostly, of course, it's mostly marketing stuff and PowerPoint slides, so not really probably something looking forward if they publish the source code. Oh, by the way, one important note here actually that I actually nearly forgot. So apparently they said it uses formal verification to reshape security, and two thumbs up for this. You see, we don't only need to sit here like this is shit, this is crap, and this is not amazing. Things can also be amazing. However, warning sign, of course, this is PowerPoint slide. We will later need to see what is left of this if it goes into production and we see the source, because buzzwords is one thing and seeing the actual product is later. Formal verification, of course, means that the source is described formally so that you can mathematically verify this and prove that this is really secure, and not like spaghetti code messing everything together and hoping that something sticks and hoping that it might be secure via string len and string copy and mem copy, and this fun stuff. And of course there are already formally verified microkernels in the L4 family. I think there's one from some Australian university, NICTA or something of that sort. So they are formally verified, supposedly. Anyway, I've not personally checked this, but anyway, could be amazing. Huge shout out, sounds amazing. I hope some of these buzzwords of this PowerPoint slides stick here, because we certainly need more of such amazing stuff. Speaking about amazing stuff, AMD Rome is out. Apparently some embargo lifted just like yesterday or something of that sort. AMD Rome, of course, the new Epyc server generation. So they tested here a lot of news outlets that have more subscribers than we do. Got here some test sample, and they tested here some 2x64 something here of Epyc 7502 goodness or something of that sort. And most reviewers agree that performance is amazing. The takeaway of this is mostly, well, we have seen Ryzen 2, Ryzen 3000 series, Zen 2 of what we are looking for. Of course, as soon as the 3975X or whatever that model number is, that SKU is, as soon as it is shipping here, orderable, we will pre-order it instantly to be the first one to hopefully maybe have the hands-on and upgrade this in mini ITX, because certainly this here, all reviewers agree, more or less, if you open all the other websites on the internet, twice the performance for half the price to comparable Intel SKUs, allegedly. And yeah, certainly. And also, I think maybe even here in this news, let's go to the, hello, is this first impressions? No, somehow not. Is this the last site, or is this not? Ah, doch, it's so what they agree here, so basically Intel, where was this by? Yeah, so so has AMD done the unthinkable, beaten Intel by such a large margin, and there is no content for now. Based on the preliminary testing, that is the case. The launch of AMD's second generation Epyc processor is nothing short of historic, yeah. Beating the competition by a large margin in almost every metric: performance per watt and performance per dollar. That is certainly another thumbs up, but nothing that we have not expected here. So you see, not everything, again, recurring theme, not everything needs to be complete crap. However, some reviewers, like maybe even on Anantech, found that of course you need to be able to not only sustain load on all those many cores if you are one of the lucky ones who have such an amazing server with 2 processors, 2 sockets, 64 cores, 128 cores or something of that sort. And obviously you need some load, and AMD, if you are listening, would be happy to load this with some nice T2 compilations. Certainly amazing if you have the money to do here some reproducible builds each day and hour and stuff, cross-compile ARM, MIPS, PowerPC, AMD 64 and all this amazing stuff. So if someone at AMD has one of those to spare, I would put some solar cells on the roof to power this beast. And yeah, you need the load, and if you don't have the load, if you have certainly only single-threaded stuff, then yeah, certainly such multi-threaded monsters are not for you. And even if you have, I think they found somewhere in their review here, as to be expected due to the nature of those nodes that you need to have of these chiplets, and this infinity something, what was the term? Infinity bus? No, something, ring hub, whatever. Infinity connectivity. Even if you have massive parallel workload that is extremely memory hungry, you need to program it so and be careful that it's not hitting the memory all over the place, so that it is memory local and it's not shuffling all your memory loads and stores through the Infinity fabric there to all those other memory channels on the other socket and core, obviously. But yeah, certainly to be expected from such massive parallel multi-socket silicon. In the same news, AMD lands Google, Twitter customers as customers with the new server chips here, given this beating Intel by such an historic margin in terms raw power, performance per dollar, and basically everything. It is no surprise that this most likely should sell like hotcakes, and damn, why did I not invest in AMD shares? Too much of a cheapskate here. You should have purchased AMD shares a year or two ago, then you probably would have 20 times multiplied your money. So yeah, there you have it. Companies already standing in line wanting to buy this. Speaking about people in line, more not amazing news from Apple here on iFixit, just out here also yesterday. AMD is, well, locking. So Apple is at least not playing nicely anymore, to say it nicely here, in terms of batteries. First they came for your home button, locking it down there, and for other parts of your, also on, according to Louis Rossmann, even on your LG displays, the Retina displays, where you can't control brightness if they are not officially blessed by Apple. And now they are coming for your batteries, and this is, as twice as sad in my opinion, because not only for the environment and recycling and such, but also for normal users, because this is one of the easiest things to swap, even for normal Joe users at home, and of course small independent repair shops. And also the Apple battery is certainly very overpriced. So what they are doing, they are apparently with the latest firmware of iOS or firmware operating system, they are apparently showing here a huge warning. Important battery message, unable to verify the iPhone has a genuine Apple battery. Health information not available for this battery. And this is a really big move, and I have to disagree here. By the way, there was, if you are citizens of YouTube and stuff, you might have seen Louis Rossmann and Jessa Jones, something of that sort. There was here something I've seen with Louis phoning with Jessa Jones, and somewhere probably this one. See, maybe I am. 1 second. OBS needs to load. Need to change desktop audio. I think it's OBS locked on the wrong Pulse audio device because 2016. So what I do not disagree. So Louis mostly says I think it's a dick move, except maybe he said that it is not too bad because it still charges. And Jessa Jones, as far as I remember from seeing this on breakfast or something, basically said, device not available, thank you very much. Pulse audio in 2019, each day your desktop audio device ID stuff changes. Let's see if that plays.
You know, I don't know, pieceofcrapbattery.com.
Anyway, too long of a stream, 1 hour 44 minutes. This is even longer than ours. Basically, it summarized, but you can watch this on yourself. Jessa Jones finds this is totally okay as far as I summarize this here and remember. And I have to totally disagree. This basically says, yeah, wait, the battery still charges, and well, this warning. It's like, yeah, it not two cents about much fuss. Anyway, however, I have to say this is a really dick move, because I have nothing against. I agree with Jessa in so far that, well, okay, Apple can display a warning there, but it should be much smaller. Yeah. So basically, this message is okay. I would argue, okay, fine. However, two things. The first thing is it's not okay that Apple apparently, according to this news site here, is taking the whole battery health information diagram, because there's usually I think there's a diagram, maybe charging levels or something of that sort. At least I think. I'm not using my iPhone much anymore. And this is not okay. So even if you, in my opinion, if you, because you can't really verify, even if you have like a good high quality there, even as far as I know, there are even some qualities that are really good, batteries that are really good quality, that have even slightly higher percentage capacity than Apple. And if you swap this with a really good AAA amazing quality batteries that might be even slightly better quality than Apple's, you lose those battery health information, right? And this is not okay. I would agree with Jessa Jones that, okay, fine, they can display the message here, hello, this is most likely not an Apple genuine battery, okay, but not take this health information away, because that is this kind of software function that you would also with any other battery want to probably maybe take a look at eventually after a year later, how badly your aftermarket battery has degraded. Also, as far as I understood this news here from iFixit, if you have two phones, like I even probably here, like your significant other sometimes drops her phones, because that is apparently what you do with iPhones. So it's still eventually, although it's by an old piece of shit because it's already laying here. You've seen most of the iPhone repair videos are usually were of significant others or family and stuff, and wasn't really motivated to that one. So, example, you are a DIY person, you build on your car, you whatsoever, you can swap a battery. Your kids, and by the way, certainly kids, right? Your kids' significant other, someone drops a phone and you say, okay, fine, don't care with this battery and whatnot. You don't care with the display and yeah, whatever. You can still swap it over. And they swapped, according to this, as far as I remember, they swapped the battery over. So genuine Apple from two phones You swap the battery over because maybe display broken whatsoever, and it shows also this message. And this is a really completely dick move, that it really looks like even if you get hold on genuine Apple battery for whatever reason, recycling another phone, this or that, and even then they show this message, and there you see how bad their engineering is. And I would also argue that if you get an aftermarket, for example, you buy a genuine part from Apple or from eBay, you don't get it from Apple. So someone has stock, or they recycle phones, and they sell a genuine Apple new recycled stock on eBay. You still would want to have this overview, and this is a really big move. There's nothing preventing Apple to at least show this for their own genuine batteries, and there you see how much of a dick move this is, and taking the sales information away. And also keep in mind, first they came for your home button, then they came for the battery, next they come for your screen, for any other part of your MacBook, certainly with this T2 chip, security allegedly something chip, and for your Hackintosh, right? Next they come for all those people, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, these are those people who also maybe swap an SSD. Well, there's no soldered on the board, but then also everything else. Battery, next they come for the battery, and then next, you can be sure, right? If there's not an outcry and protest, then of course Apple will continue with this, if just like with anything else of this measure. So yeah, remember when next year they lock the next thing, then I told you so, in my opinion anyway. And yeah, nothing against the message per se, but the implementation is crap, and taking away the sales information completely is, of course, in my opinion, they shouldn't. Anyway, in similar news, Apple confirms $1 million reward for anyone who can hack an iPhone. So I made this as a video with this audio-video dongle thing to get into that. If you are into hacking and you want to get rich, it is a gamble, I have to say. Of course, it's difficult, but at least they are now putting money where their mouth is, and apparently now pledging really 1 million reward for anyone who can hack an iPhone. Certainly further not only hindering law enforcement, but also maybe further preventing jailbreaking, because then either you can jailbreak or you can get this reward. And yeah, maybe many people of the jailbreaking community certainly rather, probably, allegedly, maybe get $1 million reward for security vulnerabilities than doing jailbreaking. And iPhones and Macs finding, actually not only iPhone, do they say Mac in the, they say iPhone here, but here I just accidentally realized Mac also apparently. So that is up from 200,000, and in the fall the program will be open to all researchers. Actually, why not now? So it's not now open. So why is it not from now, but only from? So if you have a security vulnerability, better don't burn it now, or burn it in the fall. What for the program? Yeah. So wait until the program is open. Yeah, apparently, allegedly. In similar news, Skype, Slack, and other Electron-based apps can easily be backdoored. I'm personally, I said this before, I'm not the greatest fan of Electron-based apps. What does it mean? Electron, of course, being this Chrome browser-based desktop application framework, and I'm personally not the greatest fan of this. By the way, should have actually zero-drop frames. Hey, no matter if that is due to IPv6 or pure luck. I'm not the greatest fan of this because performance is, of course, not amazing. If you know all the browser, of course, this is very generic programming, like declarative or JavaScript, and so it's very layer upon layer upon driving, hopefully just-in-time compiled code to manipulating your document object model there, and JavaScript and CSS and stuff. So all of this animation stuff is often much less efficient than if you would do it natively, because it goes through so many layers of document tree manipulation stuff. And I experienced this. I tried, well, I'm mostly not using this Electron-based stuff, and the only reason I used this once for a test was Tidal. I think Tidal, this high definition audio streaming stuff. I guess it was Tidal. And I only used this because I wanted to capture some of those streams digitally lossless to Minidisc. And for that I installed the Electron-based Tidal desktop app, which is browser-based. And on an older Mac from 8 years ago, 10 years ago, this Electron-based app, browser-based app, was so slow it could not saturate. I mean, first of all, streaming audio took like 10-15% background load, right? It's hilarious. But then the performance was so low that it could not even play gapless. Gapless meaning you have some tracks, you have some album, and then track run into each other. And no idea if it is intentionally or not, but I think I found on the internet many people complained about this. It could be intentional to people exactly prevent them to capture the stream digitally. But even if you really listen to that on, well, you pay there for some high definition, hi-fi stream, and then you get gaps in your audio. In my opinion, this is inexcusable, and maybe either intentionally or maybe the older MacBook from 8-10 years ago was really, with its aging Core 2 Duo or something, or whatever that was, it was really struggling so much with this that it couldn't, well, it's of course also sloppy programming, right? And it is quite difficult in my opinion. It is usually easier to build really fancy applications, should be easier natively than in a browser, but as usual, leave me in the comments below what you think. It could also be that they just couldn't optimize it more, because of course it only took 10 to 20% background load, which is hilariously high for streaming audio, but certainly there is 80% margin to stream gapless, so most likely it was also just simply not optimized in a way to saturate the audio link there, audio sound card, sound blaster kind of thing. Even, but also hilarious, right? A 386 could satisfy, I think even my 25 megahertz, my father's 25 megahertz 386 could most likely saturate Sound Blaster Pro 16 or what that was, was 44 kilohertz, 16-bit stereo capable already. I think, of course, not MP3 decoding, but at least from the PCM pulse code modulated audio point of view, you could stream this gapless. For example, from an audio CD on a 386 SX25, and nowadays on a 2-point-something gigahertz quad core something, you can't do this in an Electron-based app. But yeah, 2019 and browser-based apps. I assumed wrong. Yeah, so, and what this article says is that they can easily be backdoored, meaning configuration files don't change signatures, can add malicious features. So, of course, because it's a full browser, you can basically add there whatever you want. And yeah, so also this is of course relevant, especially if you're using Skype and Slack and such, which we of course don't, but if you use this business stuff in a Windows-based environment, then you might run this there for business, and then having Skype backdoored and all your communications captured and stuff, certainly not amazing. It's even a Python paste. Yeah, also we had this in other previous news, Mozilla research project, even working on putting Python in the browser, and even maybe was it Julia or something. So yeah, in my opinion also we should eventually focus on making browsers just great in their limited feature set, what a browser should do, and that put everything in the kitchen sink in there, not Python, not Julia or whatever that was, and all the other fun stuff. And yeah, keep this core stuff beautiful, simple. Also these days, WebAssembly and native code, was it NACL, native language or whatever that was standing for. No, it's not a bug. By the way, it's not a bug, it's a feature, obviously, right, because it's always like this. And yeah, the problem lies in the fact that Electron AR files themselves are not encrypted or signed, allowing them to be modified without changing the signature. Code inserted into the ASAR can run either within the application context or within context. In the framework itself, the application can plain old JavaScript, and yeah. Anyway, you get the idea. In more amazing news, there was a security audit of Kubernetes, and they published here some findings. And as far as I scrolled over this earlier, and some news sites summarize this, basically, first of all, they found, I think, 29 issues. Let's see, do we have security issues? First, public audit, something. I think they found something like 29 issues in a couple of months' time. And they basically, as other people also summarized this, like basically it's too complicated, too complex to properly review. They only scratched the surface, and even then they found 29 issues. Basically, as I usually call out here, everything I look is too complex and too complicated. The more stuff you throw in there, the more stuff is interacting, the less all the developers even know all those parts. One developer knows this part, one similar to I can't even barely review Firefox because with all this Rust and even Node.js, I don't even have an idea why they need Node.js to build Firefox now, but whatever. And yeah, so basically if you want to read the studies, that's the study. So allegedly, right, I've not read it in full, I had other things to do today, but if you have any other comments to that sort, security and stuff, always let me know. Speaking about security, if you are sometimes flying Boeing, then apparently some Boeing code leaked, allegedly maybe exposes security flaws deep in 787's guts, although I think, as far as I remember, that's already 2 days or so ago, that this was mostly for the entertainment system or so much too deep in the guts of in the entertainment system, maybe, if I didn't summarize this wrong. And in his home office in Madrid, Pot looked on some creative Googling related to his obsession with cybersecurity airplanes, discovered fully unprotected server on Boeing's network, seeming full of code designed to run companies' Giant 7. Yeah, also IPv6 firewalling just yesterday, right? Which, by the way, probably still also need to do some more homework with, and yeah, some servers unexposed in Sinner because, you know, complexity, one server, another server, many servers, and firewall here but not there, and yeah, apparently, and open to anyone who found it, downloaded everything he could. Now, nearly a year later, he claimed source code led him to something unprecedented security flaw in one of those Dreamliner's components deep in the plane's multi-tier network, suggested the hacker exploiting something. Boeing flatly denies that such an attack is possible, rejecting claims of having discovered potential paths. Of course, the usual, blah, 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 blah. Of course, doesn't have full enough picture of the aircraft or access 25 million jet confirming his claims. At the Black Hat security conference today, he plans to present his findings, including the details of multiple serious security flaws. So I'm not sure if he already published more. In the code component of the 787 known as Crew Information Service and Maintenance System, CIS/MS, responsible for the application like maintenance systems. Actually, okay, so maybe I misremembered that maybe this is more maintenance than I thought multimedia, but so-called electronic flight bag. So yeah, no surprise there, stuff becomes more connected, more complex, and more security stuff you can find there. This is why I'm calling for micro-kernel for less complicated stuff. Somehow, in my opinion, also a browser, not that a browser of a decade ago, which on the PS3 I still have the installation of Conqueror and maybe even Firefox, maybe not, but everywhere, in my opinion, you want to keep the stuff as simple as small, and in my opinion, the internet doesn't look so different from a decade ago, just that basically it was on the G5 15 years ago, on an Apple G5, it was similar snappy than today. Just today everything is overloaded with images and videos and animations and such. So I'm personally not seeing that much more progress, except now the YouTube dashboard, live dashboard doesn't load for me anymore. That is a progress. Except everything else now I need a Core i7 to browse the internet. And if I now use a dual processor, dual core G5 from 15 years ago, it's totally slow. Not really near accident, I guess, in case you heard that. Yeah, not really sure if that is a great development. In my opinion, of course, make browsers amazing and snappy, HTML5, Canvas, and JavaScript, and high performance, but maybe not add all the features and the kitchen sink in there. Keep stuff beautiful, small, simple, of course, nicely animated and graphic, but eventually there's a limit, and maybe stuff should be rather thrown out and not made more complex enough, and I don't know, maybe similar, but as usual, maybe a little bit oversimplified. Of course, always we can't only discuss here oversimplified stuff, but that boils down because it's obvious, right? If you have a team of 100 people, 100 developers working on Firefox, just as an example, it's not a manageable code base if you throw everything in there, and even need autoconf from 20 years ago to build it. It's hilarious. I mean, not that autoconf would contribute to the security impact here of the JavaScript engine, but not really. Expecting someone though. 1 second, I guess. Can we even? Yeah, fun stuff. Let's hope that reconnects. Advertising probably ringing everywhere. Please don't do this. In similar news, Trump calls for pre-crime. You remember these amazing videos where they had pre-crime stuff and was power cable. Stupid. Yeah, pre-crime. Right? Just like on Hollywood videos, presidents of most powerful nations on Earth now are uncontrolled on Twitter. A call for social media companies to detect mass shootings before. Yeah, why to forbid some guns, at least heavy-duty ones, that you certainly don't need at home, I guess, right? And yeah, of course, pre-crime, because bots screening social media can prevent shootings, right? It's hilarious. So probably all of you here in the audience have seen this amazing science fiction videos with pre-crime stuff. Always worked amazingly in Hollywood movies, right? And yeah, now politicians start to call for this, and yeah, detect mass shootings before they strike. Yeah, it's yeah, and even if, I mean, first of all, it certainly doesn't work, right? And then even if it would work, then the algorithm is doing what until it's already, I don't know. It's hilarious, in my opinion. But leave me in the comments below what you think about this. Anyway. In more amazing news, according to the car accident outside there, I do not accept hello. Just in the news today, apparently, allegedly, I've not yet heard personally more, except outside maybe. Berlin approach to cars may ban that cars on some public shopping malls, and here Friday for Future, which by the way is today, right? Friday. Friday for Future, Berlin apparently allegedly plans to ban cars on some major pedestrianized, some vital central streets here starting of October. One experiment will ban cars from the main sections of Friedrichstraße, a long store filled for what? Anyway, and yeah, totally amazing, especially if you hear the traffic outside here with the window open and ventilation running for this nice warm day. Anyway, I hope you learned something of all the certainly amazing micro-kernel and formally verified news. And there you see, if we do not do this, someone else will do it. And if, yeah, the Linux people, well, this is of course the difference, right? Linux, it's monolithic, performance, and then until Huawei comes along and says, yeah, we do now micro-kernel fully formal verified, and then you have it. And would be amazing if this is totally secure in the future. Certainly a lot of amazing stuff to come. And of course, I hope we will follow up here on this YouTube channel, do our own stuff, and looking forward to get hands on this. Certainly would be amazing. And that's it for today. I hope you learned something. We most likely, for those who want to stay in the audience, we will most likely continue here some hacking, some T2 updates and stuff not. So if you're interested in some Linux fun stuff, because monolithic goodness is also amazing, something of that sort, then tune in for the next live stream in a couple of minutes. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Hope you learned something, found something amazing here, and see you soon for all the next amazing news and developments to come.